Hey everyone, this is Tania. So welcome back to my channel with another video that today we will discuss about the another vital parameter, that is blood pressure. So this is the video number 4. So let's start. So first of all, what is blood pressure? Blood pressure is the force Blood pressure is the force exerted by the blood against the arterial wall. So what is blood pressure? When the force is exerted by the blood against the arterial wall. Now blood pressure, there is two. One is the systolic blood pressure, another is the diastolic blood pressure. Now what is systolic blood pressure? That maximum pressure exerted by the blood in the blood vessel during the left ventricular contraction. So remember, when there is a left ventricular contraction occur, then the maximum pressure that exerted by the blood on the arterial wall or the blood vessel, that is the systolic. And when the diastolic, that is the relaxing mood of the heart. So diastolic blood pressure, that pressure exerted by the blood vessel on the wall of artery during the diastole of the heart. So this is the systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Now there is an MCQ. Now the classification of blood pressure. So we all know the normal blood pressure range, that is 120 by 80 mm of Hg. Now when we call it as the pre-hypertension, when the blood pressure range, the systolic is 120 থেকে 139 and the diastolic range between 80 থেকে 89. Now the hypertension, when we call it as hypertension, when the systolic blood pressure is more than equal to 140 or the diastolic blood pressure is more than equal to 90 mm of Hg, then we call it as a hypertension. 140 কিন্তু range. Now hypertension এর দুটো স্টেজ, স্টেজ 1, স্টেজ 2. স্টেজ 1 এ কত 140 to 159 systolic BP হবে and the diastolic BP will be 90 to 99. Remember all these points because there is a MCQ from that. Now the stage 2 তে কি হবে more than equal to 160 systolic BP and the diastolic BP is the more than equal to 100 mm of Hg. Now the hypertensive crisis. What is hypertensive crisis? When the blood pressure systolic BP is more than 180 and the diastolic BP is more than 110, and in this they remember that the diastolic is more valuable in that cases. So when it is more than 110, then it always hypertensive crisis. Now coming to the MCQ. So the blood pressure refer to the force of the blood pushing against, what will be the answer? The blood pressure that refer to the force of the blood pushing against. So what will be the right answer? The right answer will be arterial wall. Now the next, which of these can increase your risk of the blood pressure? Obesity, family history of high blood pressure, smoking, and all of the above. So what will be the answer? The right answer is all of the above. High blood pressure or hypertension, there are two risk factors. One is modifiable, another that is the non-modifiable. So the modifiable include modifiable that we can modify, like obesity, smoking, alcohol intake, sedentary lifestyle, these all are the. Non-modifiable like age, sex, then ethnicity, family history, this cannot be modified or this is not in our hand. So these all are the factors that increase the risk of the high BP. Now what is the high blood pressure is the main cause of which of these? What will be the answer? The right answer is stroke. So the main cause, stroke, the main primary cause of stroke is the high BP or hypertension. Now there is a question that what is the pulse pressure? Pulse pressure is the difference between the systolic BP and the diastolic BP. Systolic BP and diastolic BP এর মধ্যে যে ডিফারেন্স সেটাই হলো the normal pulse pressure. And what is the normal pulse pressure? The normal pulse pressure is 20 to 40 mm of Hg. Orthostatic hypotension is defined as a drop in the systolic blood pressure of at least. The right answer, that is 20 mm of Hg within the 3 minutes of standing. Then we will call at the orthostatic hypotension. So what is orthostatic hypotension? If the BP of a person suddenly fall down after standing from a prolonged lying position. So if the systolic BP fall 20 mm of Hg and the diastolic BP fall 10 mm of Hg within the 3 minutes of standing, then we will call it as the orthostatic hypotension. Clear? Okay. Now the types. One, that is the essential hypertension. Essential hypertension, that is the primary hypertension. Essential hypertension, that is also known as the primary hypertension. What happened in this essential hypertension? There is no medical cause in that. Okay. Then the secondary hypertension, in this, that occur due to the any medical cause like renal any type of renal disease, thyroid disorder, or due to these causes like thyroid disorder, then the endocrinology disorder like Cushing syndrome or the pheochromocytoma. For this reason, if there is a blood pressure increases, then it is the secondary hypertension. Now the postural hypotension, I already told that what is postural hypotension? If a person suddenly stand up from a prolonged lying down position, then the BP falls down. If the systolic BP falls 20 mm of Hg and the diastolic BP falls 10 mm of Hg within the 3 minutes of standing, then it will call the postural hypotension. Now white coat hypertension, it is very interesting. White coat hypertension, a normal individual, means he or she has no hypertension, no high BP, but if he or she see a person or the healthcare member, then his or her BP increases due to the anxiety, due to the stress. So this is the white coat hypertension, means if a person see any healthcare member, then her BP will increase. Now the malignant hypertension. What is malignant hypertension? When the BP is more than 180 by 110 mm of Hg, then we will call it as the malignant hypertension. The pressure is rapidly increasing, and in malignant hypertension it is 120 mm of Hg. So malignant hypertension, the BP will be 180 by 120 and the diastolic BP is made. Hypertensive crisis. In hypertensive crisis, that is when a person's BP increases is more than 180 by 120 mm of Hg, that is hypertensive crisis, and it is mainly two type er hoy. One, that is the hypertensive emergency, another is the hypertensive urgency. So what is emergency? When there is a rise in the BP or high blood pressure or BP 180 by 120 with the evidence of the organ damage. And in the hypertensive urgency, when the high BP without any organ damage, that is the hypertensive urgency. So urgency and emergency. Resistant hypertension. What is resistant hypertension? The person's BP remain uncontrolled despite of taking 3 antihypertensive including the diuretics. Means the person is taking 3 antihypertensive, suppose AC inhibitor, diuretic niche, then the calcium channel blocker, nifedipine, এগুলো নিচ্ছে, but along with that তার সত্ত্বেও তার কোনো বিপি চেঞ্জ হচ্ছে না, বিপি কমছে না, দেন ইট ইজ দ্য রেজিস্ট্যান্ট হাইপারটেনশন। অ্যান্ড হোয়াট ইজ দ্য রিফ্র্যাক্টরি হাইপারটেনশন? দ্য বিপি রিমেইন in this the BP remain uncontrolled with or despite taking of 5 antihypertensive. So refractory তে আমরা মিনিমাম 5টা অ্যান্টিহাইপারটেনসিভ নেওয়ার পরেও কোনো রকম বিপি কমবে না, অ্যান্ড রেজিস্ট্যান্ট হাইপারটেনসিভে মিনিমাম 3টে অ্যান্টিহাইপারটেনসিভ নেওয়ার পরেও বিপি কমছে না, অ্যালং উইথ দ্য ডায়ুরেটিক আমি নিচ্ছি তাও বিপি কমছে না। সো দিস ইজ দ্য resistant and refractory hypertension. Now the nocturnal hypertension. In this nocturnal hypertension, what happens? The BP increases during the night time, and this is diagnosed with the ABPM, that is the ambulatory blood pressure monitoring. এটার মাধ্যমে আমরা নকটার্নাল হাইপারটেনশন ডিটেক্ট করতে পারি। And the main cause of the nocturnal what happen in this, that is the sleep apnea হওয়ার চান্স থাকে। নকটার্নাল হাইপারটেনশন যাদের থাকে, রাতের বেলা বিপি বেড়ে যাচ্ছে, তাদের ক্ষেত্রে হলো স্লিপ অ্যাপনিয়া হওয়ার চান্স আছে। So this is all about the types of hypertension. So what we have discussed in this session: what is hypertension, what are the types, systolic, diastolic blood pressure, means normal blood pressure এর ভ্যালু কত, 120/80 mm of Hg, then the pulse pressure and the types of hypertension, and what are the risk factor of hypertension. And in another video we'll discuss about the treatment of the hypertension, and it will be a long video for the treatment of hypertension. So if you have any doubt, then comment down below. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.